What's up, YouTube? Knight's Edge here again. Got another little comparison video for you. Battle video. Seems like you guys like those. I've been wanting to do this one for quite a while. And I finally got the chance because I got the military in from Mr. Eddie. Big shout out to him. Thanks, Mr. Eddie, for letting me borrow your knife and many others. And I appreciate everyone that's let me borrow knives for channel content. So hit the like button if you like the content. Subscribe if you want more of it. Thanks to all my Patreons, my members, everyone. You guys are awesome. I really appreciate it. It's because of people like you that I can do reviews like this and comparison videos like this. This is something pretty special. The generational Spyderco thing, right? So you got the Military 2, the Big Daddy. This is the second iteration of the Spyderco Military. You've got the Paramilitary2. And you've got the baby, the grandbaby, whatever you want to call it. Smaller one, Para 3. The original version of the military was released in 1996, and it was a liner lock. It wasn't ambidextrous tip up, tip down carry. I think it was tip down carry only, I believe. So this new model, you can see my full review on it. This one's got some new features on it. We'll talk about that. Kind of modernized into the same current era, well, semi-current era. These are a little old too, as the Paramilitary 2 and the Para 3. So looking online, everything I've dug up on these knives, just from what I've seen, it looks like this one was originally the original version. Of course, the new one, the 2023-24 version, this one was released within the last year. But the original military was released in 96. The Paramilitary 2, of course, released in 2010. And the Para 3 in December of 2016. Now, they've had all kinds of different handle versions, scale versions. These here are actually aftermarket in one way or another, except for Mr. Eddie's. Mr. Eddie's is the original stock version of the Military 2. But this one they started doing an S45VN a while back. They went over from S30V to that kind of as their standard, it seems like. And of course you got the anodized hardware and anodized handle, Titanium Lotus scales on it, and deep carry clip, anodized, all this stuff by Mr. Eddie. The Para 3 has got these Terra Tough scales. These are Cerberus scales, purple. This is kind of like my LSU knife. I live in southeast Louisiana here, and I'm a big LSU fan, so kind of want a purple and gold Spyderco, and this is the one I got, or put together anyway. You got Maximum on the blade steel for this particular one, and the gold Lynch Northwest deep carry clip. So just kind of a heads up before we get into the specs and my final thoughts and all that stuff. That's kind of like the differences. These are both modified. These are great modifying platforms. Spyderco's always have been to me. That's one of the reasons I got into collecting them. That and their excellent record of heat treat. So going from the bottom up, looking at it, you got 7 and right at 7 1/8 overall length on your Para 3, right at 3 inches on that blade length, and 2 5/8 on your cutting edge right there for the Para 3. On your PM2, you've got, I'd say right at, going with 8 1/4 on overall length. Overall blade length, you're looking 3 5/8. And your cutting edge, thanks to that forward finger choil, right at 3 1/4. And the Big Daddy here, the military. Actually got to pull the tape measure out a little bit more for that one, right? Overall length on that one right at 9 1/2. Going to all the way to the scale there on that finger choil, you're looking at 4 and just shy of 4 1/4 on the blade length. Cutting edge length, you've got 3 and right a little over 3 3/4 on your cutting edge on this one. So definitely some differences in size for sure. The ergonomic grips are very similar on these three, except for the size of the object, right? If that makes any sense. Let's see, let me go ahead and get out calibers here. We'll do blade stock thickness. Make sure these things are zeroed out. Yep. Alright, starting from the bottom up. Pair of 348 thousandths, thickest part of the spine. Paramilitary2. 144 thousandths, so pretty close. Could also be the spot that I'm measuring, but I'm trying to get it fairly the same. And the military 2, you're looking right at 149.5 thousandths or so. So it's pretty similar with blade stock thickness, right? Not really that much of a difference. Measuring at the belly, behind the edge on these, on each one of them. Looking at 25 thousandths on the military 2. On the paramilitary 2, you're looking at, let's see, let's get right in the belly. We got 28 thousandths, so seemingly a little bit thicker, maybe. It's also been sharpened a few times. That's a factory edge on that one. And your pair of 3, which has only been sharpened once. Oop. Slid off of that one. Let me zero these out again. I gotta make sure that's right. It seems kind of thick to me. But let's see, looking at this, you got 33 thousandths. So it seems like the pair of 3 is a little bit thicker. I'm not going to do the handle scales, the handle width like I usually do, just because these are both aftermarket scales. And I have individual reviews on each of them also. So size comparisons, here's the military 2, here's the PM2, and here's a pair of 3. All right, kind of a joke. I do size comparisons with these two knives. These are two of the kind of size comparison knives I use on the channel, just because it seems like these are some pretty common knives for people to have, you know. Let's get out, we'll do the Rat Model 1 next to all three of them. Alright, so you can see that military 2 is definitely a good bit bigger than the Rat Model 1. Kind of space those out just right. Rat Model 1 a little bit longer than the Paramilitary 2. And oh, I get it out of the frame there. I have to do it on top. And obviously then, you know, way bigger than the pair of 3. Rat 2. And your KnivesShipFree 80-20.5. It's the slicer version of the 80-20.5 there. Cold Steel Knives 80-10. A lot bulkier, but not quite as long as the military 2, right? Alright, let's get out, let's see, I'm going to get out a couple more Spydercos here. I'm going to do all my Spydercos up next to them, but we'll just do a couple of them. Let's get out the Native 5, another Golden Colorado USA Earth knife, alright. So that's up against the Native 5. That being the lightweight with some applied weapons tech scales on it. That military 2 definitely dwarfs that Native 5. And last but not least, the Spyderco Shaman, however you want to say it. Shabazz. Yeah, so still bigger or longer anyway than the Shaman. The Shaman seems like it's more bulky, a little bit more hefty than the military 2, but the military 2 is definitely longer than the Shaman. Shaman fairly close to the PM2 in overall length, you know, could be a little bit longer. And then of course next to the pair of 3, you know, the Shaman's much bigger of a knife. You know, these two I would equate very similar to these two. They're different in some ways. They're very similar in some ways too. So those are some other Golden Colorado USA Earth knives. Let's go ahead and I can do weight on it, but then again, bear in mind these are aftermarket scales, so that's going to vary a whole lot. Oh, go ahead and get that fixed there. Have to reset this thing. Alright, so your weight on your Spyderco Military 2, 4.3 ounces. Now that's a stock weight. This one, these TerraTough scales are a little lighter than G10, but fairly similar in weight. 3.1 ounces. And the PM2, this one's gonna, and my guess would be the heaviest, because you got these Titanium Lotus scales on there. Full titanium, so yeah, 4.9 ounces. So with the titanium scales, the PM2 is 4.8. You know, standard, you got 4.3 on the Military 2. So not too much of a difference in weight between the PM2 and the Military 2 and the Para 3, but a pretty good difference in weight and length, right, between the Military 2 and the Para 3, because those are, you know, I guess it just depends on what you want out of a knife. Do you need that much cutting edge? Is that what you're looking for? Do you want something kind of in between, you know, in the middle? Or do you want something more compact, a little more EDC friendly? And also knife laws, you know, I'm sure play a part in this. Depending on what state you're in, they have laws that require you to carry a knife that's under 3 inches or under 3.5 inches or stuff like that. So that might also play a factor into which one you want. The cutting edge on the Military 2 is substantially more, of course, than the other two. So if you use every bit of that cutting edge, you're going to get more life out of the Military 2, I would say, if you use every bit of that edge. Now that's including all the way down here, you know, the belly and the tip. Most people, a lot of people, typically only use like from there up, it seems like. I know me in my everyday tasks when I'm cutting stuff, you know, depending on what it is, it could be a variety of different things. But if I'm cutting like rope, I'll use, you know, from here up. If I'm pushing down and doing like a pull cut, draw cut, whatever, I'm using from here up. This area in here, not too much. So if you look at the knife, your Para 3 is essentially your area in here all the way up, right? So that's one thing to keep in mind if you're trying to decide which one of these three you want to get. That's definitely a factor, right? Also carryability. I would say of the three, the Para 3 kind of carries easiest, but the Military 2 really surprised me. The Paramilitary 2 is right in between, but the Military 2 really surprised me because it's fairly lightweight. You look in there, it's like they did a little bit of weight reduction. Some nested liners in there, a little bit of weight reduction going on. They all run on phosphor bronze washers, so they're all you know, pretty reasonably close as far as action goes. Now you got a bigger blade, a longer blade on that paramilitary, or on that Military 2. Ugh. I keep getting the words are so much similar that I keep getting them mixed up. All right, but that of course has a deep carry clip on it, so I can't really compare it too well with the blue jeans. That's a Lynch Northwest deep carry clip. Bear in mind your stock Spyderco clip will probably, you know, stick out in the pocket more. As a matter of fact, we're about to see that right here on your Military 2. So, right, typically that's what you got sticking out of the pocket. A little bit less on the Para 3. Whenever it comes out of pocket, it's sticking up about, it rides down to about right there. Pretty similar, actually, come to think of it. So, standard spoonbill Spyderco clip, that's what you're looking at. Now, some of the nuances of the Military 2, you've got ambidextrous, you know, left or right-handed carry, or tip up or tip down carry. Just like the old one, you can carry it tip down, mount the clip here, carry it tip down left-handed here, whatever. So that's good to have those options. You've got those options on all three of these knives, as a matter of fact, as they come. Now the aftermarket scales, not so much. This is right-handed tip-up carry only on these scales, and these are drilled out for left-handed carry, but not ambidextrous carry. So something to keep in mind also, if you buy an aftermarket scales for these, make sure if you're a left-handed person or you want that tip down option, I guess, make sure the scales are drilled out and fit to your liking. So of these three knives, the one that I would pick to carry every day would probably be the PM2, kind of right in the middle. The Military2 is a great knife. The original design, keep getting my fingerprints on there, satin finish, but the original design has definitely stood the test of time. You know, it is very ergonomically friendly. They all three have those same ergonomic lines, you know, with that choke up spot on all three of them, and the handle that goes back right like that. These scales, of course, are a little bit different, you know, so you can't really compare contouring or anything like that. I don't have the original scales for these two, but they don't really change up the ergonomics too much. They definitely change up the feel and the weight and everything. I like the way the aftermarket scales are more, but the G10 works just as well, and not really a rough G10, kind of in between, I would say. Not bad, not great, you know, a little gritty, like super fine sandpaper, you know. Pretty decent on the G10 on these. The action, I've had no issues on any of them as far as action goes. Like I said, the blade on that Military2 is definitely longer than the other one. So when you squeeze that compression lock, which is probably my favorite locking mechanism of all time, if not in the top 2 or 3 for sure, when you squeeze that compression lock, it's coming down. You know, when you do that on the Paramilitary2, originally it does the same, and the Para 3 does the same as well, but that Military2, the blade swings down fairly quick because of the weight of it, so something also to remember. Same hump on these three, you know, the Spyderco standard paramilitary series hump, you know, very good, very ugly. A lot of people don't like it. You know, it's not really like an aesthetically pleasing knife. It looks like a bird's beak or something like that. I've heard it compared to a lot of different things, compared to kind of like your average looking, you know, knife profile. It is very different. The thumb hole is one of the things pioneered by Spyderco, you know, so they're all going to have that. It seems like I've never owned a Spyderco without the thumb hole opener. But of the three, I'm kind of right in the middle. I would prefer what I would call a full-size knife, and that's why the definition is full-size knife on my channel is this one, you know, over 8 inches, under, you know, kind of like 8 3/4 or something like that. You know, kind of varies a little bit, but the PM2 Paramilitary2 was one of the first super premium knives I ever owned. You know, these come in a variety of steels, all three of them. This one's getting more and more steels. This one comes in, you can get this one in BD1N. The Para 3, you can, you know, that's the lightweight. Also have that one. You can get them both in Magna Cut now. You can get them both in S90V periodically. They're supposed to be coming out with 15V for both of them eventually. Everything, you know, under the sun as far as steels go, especially as far as super steels go, you can get it in this series right here. The Military probably has the least amount of different steels, but it is Military2, I'm sorry, but the Military2 has also been out the least longest. It is the oldest and the youngest at the same time, right? So with that compression lock, the ambidextrous drill outs on there, and the, you know, the new kind of all those new updates for the Military2, it kind of turns it into a different knife. You know, it is the same, but it's different. You definitely have a lot more handle choke back, you know, than you do on your other ones, so bear in mind that. You know, on the Para 3, I'm choked back and I still have a full grip on it. I wear a large size glove, have average size hands, so no issues there with that one at all, or this one. This one I just feel like I got too much extra, you know. Maybe if my hands were XL or XXL or something larger, you know, then that would be more preferable to me. But I would prefer this one over the other ones. A little difference of note is that S30V is the standard steel for these. These other two are going in S45VN now, which is a little bit of a superior steel. In my mind, S30V is still a pretty good steel. You know, I have no issues with S30V. It's not like a super duper, you know, edge retentive steel like your Maximum or your 15V or K390 or something like that. But it is a really good steel still. You know, it's better than, in my opinion, I mean, S30V is better than 9CR or 8CR or Austin or, you know, D2 or something like that. So I would still consider a premium steel. It's just for some reason on these two stock as they come out, they have updated the steels, and on this one it's still S30V. So something else to keep in mind there. And also a little side note that I figured whenever I was doing some research into this, looking up the release dates of them and stuff like that, the Para 3, from what I'm reading anyway, the Para 3 is not the 3 on the Para 3 does not mean it is the third iteration of this series. It means it is a 3-inch blade, which matches up, right? So I thought that was pretty cool. You know, I've been wondering for years, you know, off and on when I think about it anyway, why would they call it the Para 3, you know, and like it's smaller. So I don't know, but anyway, I thought that was a neat little tidbit. All three of these are available. Their price differences in them are not that great. BladeHQ's website, I'm looking at it right now. The Para 3 and S45VN, you're looking at $187. On the Paramilitary2 and S45VN, you're looking at $198. And on the Military 2 and S30V, you're looking at $210. So a little, in my opinion, a little high on that S30V Military 2, but all three of them are a little high in my opinion. So all great knives though, you know, that's not to take away from them. They're all great, wonderful American made knives. Spyderco is the company that I have the most knives of their brand, and they're one of my favorite knife companies. So I can definitely say that, you know, they are going up though. So anyway, I appreciate everyone watching, and Mr. Eddie for letting me borrow his Military 2. Hit the like button if you liked the video, if it helped you out on deciding which one you want to get, or just you were bored and stumbled across this channel or whatever. Let me know in the comments. Let me know what your favorite one is. You like the Military 2, the Paramilitary 2, or the Para 3 better? Sure to get all kinds of comments on this one, but definitely looking forward to reading those. And definitely thank you guys. Hit the like button if you want more content. Subscribe if you want even more content. Kind of did that backwards, didn't I? Hit the like button if you like the content. Subscribe if you want more of the content. Oh man, until next time, I hope you guys have a good evening, morning, night, whenever you're watching this, and stay sharp.